And to anyone that is just joining us, my name is Ayobami Bellatorrence. I am the Marketing Outreach Coordinator for DDOT. Just want to thank you for joining us today on our first ever virtual community input meeting. We will start now with our introductions. We are joined today by several DDOT members, and I'm just going to have them take their one by one, just kind of introduce themselves. And we could start with Jennifer.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jennifer Fry. I am the marketing manager at DDOT.
Ms. Torrance, you can let us know who wants to speak next.
Okay, you can go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to let the director, unless he wants to.
No, we're going to do, I'm sorry.
I'm going to go last.
You were speaking, so he's going to go last.
Very good. Rick Brown, Chief Transit Police.
Okay.
Ricky, I'm a manager of data and reporting.
Good afternoon, Larry Smith, Assistant Director of Operations.
Hello, everybody. Josh Reed, Manager of Administration.
Mikki.
Everyone, Mikki Taylor-Hendrix with Scheduling and Service Development.
Elias.
And sorry, I had mute on. Hi, everyone. Elias Fisher, Grants Administrator.
Do we hear from Josh? Mr. Reed?
I thought I did. Josh Reed, Manager of Administration. Maybe I talked over somebody. Sorry, guys.
It's okay. And am I missing anyone else? If I missed you, would you please go ahead and introduce yourselves now outside of our director? Okay, at this time, I would like to introduce our new Executive Director of Transit, Mr. Oglesby.
Well, hello and welcome everybody. I'm really excited to listen and learn. That's what the name of the game is. I am the new, even though I feel like I'm the old already. I've only been here a few weeks, but I am the new Executive Director of Transit. It's a new position that's going to oversee DDOT and some other pieces, people mover and the like. But with the interim director gone, I am going to be the person you see from this point forward. Okay, so a little bit about myself. I've been in public transit for 30 years, all modes of transportation. So I've managed large systems and small systems. I've managed multimodal systems. I've done and created many buildings, administrative buildings, multimodal centers, and my experience spans from light rail, heavy rail, paratransit, ferry service, locomotive. I've even regulated taxis, and of course the police in Boston, Massachusetts. Real quickly, the largest system that I was the #2, worked my way up from the bottom in, was in Boston at the MBTA. I started as an analyst, worked my way all the way up. The same system that my father was a bus operator for 34 years and retired while I was #2 in the position. I was very proud of that and still am. I then proceeded to Sunline Transit Agency, where I was the CEO of that agency for 10 years. We were leader in alternate fuel technology, which lets you know that I'm not afraid of looking at something new and something fresh, and that's really what I like to bring here. And then most recently, I was running the rail system from Miami all the way to West Palm Beach. So a lot of you are saying, those sounds like some warm places. What are you doing here? Well, I'm really excited because in most places where funding is a major issue or ridership's going down, Detroit's very proud, and they're proud of ridership, and they're proud of Detroit. And I want the system to match that enthusiasm that everybody has here, and we're going to do that. So we're going to take it one step at a time. We're going to listen to the public. It's going to be intake. I'm sure there are some questions. I have no problem answering them, and I'm an open book. So we'll have many more of these. Again, this is my very first one, so take it easy on me, and I'll send it back to you.
All right, well, thank you so much. And we are definitely excited to have you, and we look forward to you taking us to the next level and whatever more to come. We are going to now briefly go over the meeting rules. They're pretty simple. Just ask that everyone respect all our speakers. Everyone will have the opportunity to speak at the end. As far as our community attendees who have joined us, you will have that opportunity to speak. When that time comes, we do ask, as always, that we limit that time to 2 minutes and that you be courteous of that 2-minute time. We will start now with our DDOT updates. Right now, we don't have, as far as that I'm going to provide, is Memorial Day. As you know, that's coming up Monday, May 25th. So just letting you know that the bus will be operating on a Sunday schedule, but Rosa Parks Transit Center will remain open, and that our regular Saturday schedule will resume on Tuesday, the 26th. So again, that's just for that one day on Memorial Day. Monday, we'll be running on a Sunday schedule, and then we will continue into our temporary Saturday schedule. I'm gonna go now into our department updates. I'm gonna start first with the representative from operations.
Good afternoon again, everyone. To give you the updates on behalf of operations, as many of you are aware, we are currently operating on a Saturday schedule, which is running Monday through Saturday. Sunday schedule has remained as a Sunday schedule on Sundays, as you all know. The other addition, of course, I'm not sure, we've had a bit of a gap here in between the meetings here. So just giving you guys kind of a synopsis of everything that's been going on since the last meeting. Of course, DDOT has implemented the rear door boarding, which does not apply to our ADA passengers. You still have access to front door boarding. That's whether wheelchair, you do not have to be in a wheelchair. If you need the assistance of our lift, you still have access to that front door. In addition to that Saturday service, we do receive the complaints, so we are constantly looking at different things we can do to get better. One of the things that we have been taking note of is due to social distancing. You guys have been very much vocal in regards to the overcrowding on our buses. What we are implementing now with one of our positions that some of you are aware of, which is our road supervisors, what we have done is we've kind of restructured the way in which they operate on a day-to-day basis out on the road. As you guys can imagine, as COVID has hit, that has affected our manpower. So as you can imagine, having 3 or 4 different bodies working throughout the city, what we've done is now we have them reporting specifically on lines. Thankful to our data and reporting team that has been able to provide us with some great data that references what your ridership looks like on our different lines, and of course during the different peak times throughout the day. So that has allowed us to be able to kind of allocate our manpower where it is needed to kind of better assist you all with the overcrowding, as well as bring down our response time when those complaints come in, as well as when our drivers are radioing in for issues that they are having out on the road. Our response time has been able to decrease significantly this week. And that is all due to the cooperation that you all are having with us. And in that regard, that pretty much concedes our operations. We look forward to trying to build things back up as this thing ramps on up. We are exploring the different options that we have now as we begin to gear things back up. So we look forward to your cooperation, and we thank you all during this time.
Thank you for those updates. We'll now move to scheduling and servicing, please. Service development.
Gina on the call? I'm not sure.
Yes.
Mikki, are you going to speak for?
I guess I will. I thought Gina was going to be here. Hi, everyone. Mikki Taylor-Hendrix with Scheduling and Service Development. I think Larry pretty much covered what we would have. We are working with operations very closely to make sure we are assisting with the schedules that need to be ran during this time. So the only thing I would like to add is a recommendation. Please make sure you are checking the schedule times. Our Saturday schedules for all the routes that are running right now are available online on our website, as well as at Rosa Parks Transit Center. So we just want to make sure people are following the correct schedules for the best arrival times for our buses. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. And we're going to move now to data and reporting.
Hi, everyone. Thank you all for attending. I know that one of the big hot topics that we have is our tech upgrade. We do get a lot of questions about it. And I know that when we last had our meeting that we were chugging along and getting the modules deployed. And, you know, it's still the focus of the department to get the modules deployed as fast as we can, rather than, as we've said in the past, we're not trying to have a giant ribbon cutting where all of the packages go online at once. We're trying to get them out there because I know as riders, every package that we get going is one more ability to ride safely as well as more conveniently. So, just to give everyone an update, since the last time we've talked, because of the COVID, a lot of our vendors who we work with as partners, they've had some difficulties coming out, being able to transition our product to be able to operate in that fashion. But we are working diligently. There's a lot of remote work going on. So we're trying our best to get that updated. Some of the concerns that we heard, and we've heard you, the transit app, trying to get that feed up and running. That's one of the things that we're working on directly right now. The other one is enunciators, making sure that the volume is loud enough. We've had some feedback on that. And we have meetings and setups going on right now, audits that are going on to make sure that that's getting taken care of. And we do appreciate operations making a mention. We are trying our best to make sure that we're going to arm the operations team with the best data possible so that they can be in front of proactively where the crowding is going on. That is our first and foremost focus. So that will be something that we're working on directly, because we know that the safety of the ridership is of paramount, and we're going to try our best to make sure that that's out there. So thank you.
Thank you, Ricky. We are going to move now with an update from Transit Police, please.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Rick Brown, Chief Transit Police. I don't have a whole lot, which is always a good thing coming from Transit Police. However, the one thing I do want to stress with the public is the city and DDOT's effort to keep everyone safe and healthy. So I'd like to kindly remind everyone, if you're boarding public transportation, specifically DDOT buses, we're asking that you wear the appropriate face gear. It's important to protect your fellow passengers as well as our drivers. Transit Police will respond if there's an issue, and we will do everything we can to mitigate the situation that's fair to everyone. However, we will not hesitate to enforce any laws and regulations as it pertains to protecting our drivers as well as our fellow passengers. So please be mindful of that. Last is Rosa Parks Transit Center. Although it is technically open, it's open for restroom use only. And that's simply because we want to abide by all the regulations and ordinances and orders from the governor. And it's easier to maintain distancing when you have control of the building, which means we keep it for the most part locked except to use the restrooms, and that's limited per people. So just take into consideration the safety and security of everyone. And I thank you, and I'll wait for any questions.
Okay, great, thank you. And before we wrap up our departmental updates, marketing, please.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. Again, just a quick rundown on a couple marketing updates. One, at this time, we know it's very difficult. It's been challenging during the COVID pandemic to post posters and all the external postings that we normally would do. And that's why we're encouraging everyone to pay attention to the DetroitMI.gov website, and specifically the DDOT page. A couple weeks back, we launched the Responding to COVID-19 web page, where you can get the latest information regarding DDOT related COVID updates. We're also encouraging everyone to follow us on social media. That's our Facebook, our Twitter, our Instagram, and LinkedIn at Ride DDOT. For newsletter updates, you can subscribe again on the DetroitMI.gov website. If you scroll down to the bottom page, you can opt in. Make sure that you select DDOT to receive the latest notifications. And we are aware of the ADA coordinator email breakdown on the website, and we currently have a ticket out to our tech team to get that email resolved. So if you have been experiencing issues, we do apologize for the inconvenience, but do know that we are working to ensure that those communications will be coming to you shortly. That is all for marketing.
All right, thank you. And thank you for everyone who spoke. At this time now, we will open it up to our community comments. If you have attended a community meeting in the past, you know that this is usually the time that will allow you to come up to the mic and speak with your 2 minutes. So since we're doing this virtually, what you'll be able to do is raise your hand if you have that, be able to do that. And if not, afterwards, if there's anyone else, if you're calling in, we'll be able to get to you as well. And we did receive a few emails ahead of the time of the meeting. So just note that we have seen those, and that even though we won't be able to answer, we may not be able to answer everything today, please know that your emails have been received. And so we'll go ahead and get started. And we'll just kind of do it as a first come, first serve.
Hello?
Okay. Hello?
Oh, okay. Hi. Yes, I can hear you guys.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Jacqueline Austin, and I'm calling in with a concern regarding the ADA community. That's American Disabilities Act for individuals that enter and ride on the bus. What opportunities do you have via mail, considering not everyone has a phone? There are individuals that are pretty much now disabled. On top of that, having concerns with getting to appointments, jobs. There are disabled individuals that do work. So what type of virtual opportunity and mailer? I would think mailer, considering the fact that you have marketing, and I was wondering what, if any, opportunities in marketing that you would have for the ADA community to receive information via text, email, and also mailer.
Yes, so we are currently working on plans to help expedite communications that used to be more direct mail and in person. And so we're working closely with the ADA and paratransit community and our internal partners to flesh that out. In the interim, we do have text alert options available through the city of Detroit. You have to opt into the web page to get that set up so you can start receiving that type of information. But I will open it up to, I believe, Mr. Reed, if he's available, if he can elaborate on more of what the number and the other mediums that are in place regarding services like the Detroit Metro Lift and in our new Freedom program. Because that information, again, is available on our website, but we are exploring ways to better filtrate that out.
Yes, hello everybody. So our partnership that we have with TransDev and the way that has been working, we have been trying to market that through our marketing and outreach. As far as I know, we haven't had situations, and I'm trying to reflect back on some of my notes, of anybody having issues getting through to TransDev and or, you know, more familiar with MetroLift. And have you had that issue, Jacqueline?
I utilize the DDOT service. I am disabled, but at times, if there's an inactive route, or let's say the app has been inactive in its location as to when and what time the services run. So I basically play a guessing game, which is not vital to me if I have to figure out when a route is active. After hours, there's no one available. So I'm just curious to assume that there's other options for that community, especially if they work or have no other choice, or if they have an aide or someone that comes out to them and have to utilize the service safely, affordably, and basically just all the above, considering that this has forced us into survival mode. So that's anyone, whether disabled or not, that we immediately get out a call to our efforts together now with the community. Now this is so needed, considering the fact that I don't utilize Lyft, but I utilize the DDOT system so that I can even get around. And my first day back since COVID was yesterday on the bus. And I'm still, you know, and shout out to that driver's family that lost his life, and myself and Detroit People's Platform. We're just working effortlessly to make sure that that community gets a representation above everything else.
Yes, and I'm very sympathetic with you guys. We are working diligently with our new tech upgrades that Ricky was mentioning earlier. And we're kind of in this transition where we're almost there, but we're not quite there. But I know it's extremely important to everybody to be able to track our buses, you know, and we're with COVID and everything else and people working remotely and not being able to fly people in to do some of the installations we need. It has put a little damper on things, but we are working diligently to get that up and running.
Okay. All right. Thank you for those updates, and thank you, Jacqueline, for your questions. Can we get the next attendee, please?
We have Renard as the next.
Okay.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone, and I hope that you all are staying safe and healthy. I want to welcome the new director to the city of Detroit, and I also want to first and foremost thank all DDOT drivers and staff that are keeping our system running in this severe public health emergency. My question.
We apologize. It's kind of breaking up a little.
Communication with ADA, LAC meeting has been addressed. Thank the staff member for reporting on that. My questions are regarding solution for the COVID. Are your cleaning solutions certified to? Okay. See here. I apologize. Can folks hear me clearly, or are there
it's kind of breaking up, but I know you said
issues
it ahead of time. Is it regarding the overcrowding or what we're doing for a short time?
Hello. Hello. Can folks hear me? I'm having some internet issues.
You might have to come back to Renard.
I could answer his question for you. I believe he was speaking towards the information regarding the cleaning solutions. How effective are those solutions when cleaning and sanitizing the buses? And if so, what type of allergic reaction to passengers that we may or may not know of, will you make those ingredients relevant so that individuals understand that if they get on the bus, how important the mask is, and that whether or not if we know that a person is allergic to the product that you may use?
Okay, I am back. Can folks hear me? And I want to thank the department for their patience. And you all, hello, can folks hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm going to begin my comments. Thank you all for your patience, and I'll be brief as possible so others can speak. I wanted to also just thank you all for addressing the issue regarding the DDOT LAC. Do you make a recommendation for people to send those comments instead to DDOT comments in lieu of the other email not working? The other question I have is, what solution are you using to clean the buses, and how often are they being cleaned? And have they been OSHA certified in terms, or FDA certified in terms of killing the coronavirus? And will the department put right to know literature for the drivers and riders in case there are like allergies or other issues with that? And then thirdly, I do want to speak to the department's communication. I do understand that this is a national or international pandemic, and there are some issues with that. So that aside, we really need to find a way to reach people just beyond the social media. And you all have collected really good data in terms of names, phone numbers, and email addresses to the best of people's legibility. But please consider just really like kind of ad hoc, really quick ways, or just immediate ways of reaching out to people until there's a further marketing plan. And then also, we need to have service restored on neighborhood routes or routes as soon as possible, because the slow service, I do understand is to allow for social distancing. But now that we could have about 10 people with the orders loosening up and the governor's rescinding them, what is the social distancing plan for the buses? Are you going to put cones in every other seat? How do we know the department is actually cleaning the buses? What is the process with that? And also the other thing is to, will the department apply for more grants to purchase masks on a perpetual or sustainable basis? Because I'm concerned about the 20,000 masks running out, and I do anticipate that could run out pretty soon, but I do see them on the buses, and I do thank my team members for posting that as well too. And that ends my comment.
Awesome. Those were a lot of, go ahead.
There's a lot of questions there, so I didn't get all of them. This is Michael Oglesby. Thank you for your concern and your information. I'll touch on as much as I can remember, and then I'll let staff kind of remind me what the question is, and I'll try to attack as many as I can, and staff will jump in. So let's first talk about the cleaning of the buses. Are the buses being cleaned properly? How often are the buses being cleaned? What solution is being used? And I think that was about it for that one, right? So that's one of like 20. But anyway, so that first one. Okay, so as far as the cleaning solutions, we're going to double check to make sure that they're certified, but I know they're certified to kill the coronavirus. As you are probably aware, 70% of alcohol is said to kill the coronavirus. We hired a third party to assist us in cleaning the buses. So when people say, wow, are you cleaning the buses? The answer is this. We are currently cleaning the buses 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 3 shifts, 8 different locations with 2 workers per shift. The locations are Rosa Parks and Transit Center, Michigan and 3rd, Woodward and State Fair, 8 Mile, Jefferson Ave, St. John's Hospital, Fairlane Town Center, and Nordland Center. So they are being done all day. And then at night, we have another crew that does additional cleaning midday at both garages and once a night. So we are going above and beyond cleaning. We're cleaning more than, I'd just about say any other place. And if you were wondering how much that costs, we're spending an additional $75,000 a week. So we are spending $300,000 a month to clean these buses. You can't get any better than that. We have people scrubbing these buses so much their arms are getting tired. Okay, so we understand, we take it seriously. In addition, we have a machine. If before this is over, if I have it on my desk, I'll tell you. But in addition, we paid about $40,000 for a machine that sprays down the bus, and we spray every single bus, and it clings to every part of the bus. So we're doing both things as a secondary measure. So we are very confident that we're cleaning to the best of our ability. As you know, cleaning is the first part, and we depend on you as the rider to do the second part. Wash your hands, use gloves if you can, and have a mask. On the bus, we have masks. Don't worry about it. We have plenty of them. We get them donated all the time. I just looked, I think the Pistons donated another 20,000. So we have much more than 20,000 masks. DDOT is part of an overall group from the city. So, you know, the police, everybody, the fire, everybody is getting it. So we make sure we are not worried about that part. What we would like to do, and I'm glad that the community is here, is respect what we're trying to do. It's an honor system. That means you take one mask, not the entire box. What's happening is people are taking the box, selling them on the street. So, you know, we have, you know, it leans one way, then it leans the other. And what do we do in response? We keep putting boxes out there and keep saying, please respect what we've done. Okay, so as far as cleaning, hopefully that answers that. The seating, different places do it differently. Some people put yellow tape on each seat. If you put a cone, if somebody wants to sit down, they move the cone. You put a sign, if someone wants to sit down, they move the seat. We tell them, again, we give instruction, but we can't control people's behavior, right? So if their behavior is to disrespect what we've put out there, then it makes it tougher for us. We have confrontation. We have to call the transit police. They help out the best that they can. The best thing to do is really look at our service, try to increase like Larry had mentioned earlier, our routes on the crowded locations, get the people out there that can see what's going on and control everything and make people happy. We admit that we haven't done that to this point, but I've been here 2 weeks. That's going to change, okay? We are going to take a look and change how things work moving forward, and we're going to be bringing back some employees that didn't necessarily, they're on furlough. There's a lot that happened. We're going to reverse a lot of it. So what we want to do is sort of bring these people back and be out on the road, kind of let people know what's going on. So we'll be a little more visual. So I have that. Oh, what date? I know one of the questions was, what date are we going to bring back full service? That's a good question because it comes to safety, okay? So let's talk about that for a second. The safest way to provide public transportation is to have a barrier between the rider and the driver that protects the driver, which is very important. And I know you care about that as much as protecting the rider. So we worked on a barrier. I just recently approved the barrier. I'm going to be presenting it and going to procurement, and we're going to go out and get these barriers. It's a very nice one, actually. It's the best one made. The driver gets in, swings the door shut, so it's glass all the way across, but you still have the ability to go by and pay the fare because we're losing money. And it has a built-in electric window for the driver to lift up and down, fans built in it for air circulation, and we'll have additional fans and for cleanliness. So the driver will be safe and the rider will be safe. Now, of course, the next thing is the social distancing. Once you get on, we have to make sure that our service doubles up in certain places because if we're talking about 10 people per vehicle, we're going to have to ramp that up. So bringing us back in full service still won't look the same, but it'll be a lot better because we have to put the buses where they need to be. I anticipate, we're looking at it now, so I can't tell you an exact date. I would love to say by the end of the month, but I need to figure out if we're gonna do that, I need a temporary solution because the permanent solution I told you about has a 6-week lead time, okay? So if we open up tomorrow, how do I make it safer for you? I wanna protect you, the rider. So we're really toggling between that. We're gonna have a big meeting on it on Monday. We're going to discuss it, and hopefully we'll be able to come back and communicate that to you all. I don't remember some of the other questions. Does anyone else can tell me what they were?
Communication in general, lack of communication from the department.
Oh, you guys got that.
Yeah, so I can speak on that again. We're still working through some of the logistics as to how we're going to move forward with communications. We are aware that most of our riders are not do not have data and internet access and a lot of digital communications, but we are following the City of Detroit's efforts as well. You know, the mayor's press conferences, news releases that come out. The City of Detroit still has their direct mailers and newsletters that come out as well. So we're going to be participating, putting some information regarding our new upcoming safety protocols and when fare actually is in our service is actually 100% operative. We'll make sure to include those updates into the city's newsletters. So there are many different avenues that we're exploring right now, but all of this is we're still in the planning phases as to how we're going to communicate for our communications on the ground.
Renard, was there anything else that we missed? We don't want to add any new questions, but did we miss any of your original questions?
None whatsoever. And acknowledge the replies and response, and we'll look forward to the department to meet its commitment to the residents. And also, it does take our part too, but just know that most riders are trying to ride the bus and they're trying to get to their destination and have no interest in destroying property. The other thing is, I do not agree with the administration that there is a shortfall for DDOT when there's CARES Act or COVID funding for fares, but I'm sure that the department probably could put out some clarification about how they're using our federal CARES Act money to support the department. And I think it's dangerous to collect fares, quite honestly, and I disagree with any departmental plans to collect fares anytime soon, and I wouldn't be on record for that. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you for voicing your input, your concerns. We're going to move on now to our next person. Can you provide that for me? Is that Megan?
Ayubami, I believe we have Patty here.
Do you see, can you, I'm not seeing her.
Marguerite is on there.
I'm gonna allow the person now. That's your name. Can you introduce yourself?
Hi, this is Lisa Franklin, CEO and founder of Warriors on Wheels, past member of the LAC, Local Advisory Council, and also board member for the Regional Transit Authority. And my question pertains to paratransit. You talked about how you're cleaning the line haul buses, but I was wondering if that same protocol was used for paratransit, if that's left up to the vendors to do, and who in DDOT makes sure that that's being done. And my last question is, does the director know the role of the LAC? And have you had an opportunity to look at the bylaws? Because when the LAC first started, I believe they were meeting monthly. Then they went into every other month, and now they're meeting quarterly. So we just want to make sure that the LAC's power is restored by allowing them to work through their bylaws. Thank you.
All right, I'll take the paratransit, I guess. Yes, the vehicles are being cleaned. They're being cleaned between passengers and a thorough cleaning at the end of every night. TransDev is doing the audits on the vendors that are doing the cleaning, and I speak with Simone, and we speak about that, you know, once a month. We just had our LAC meeting, as you know, and that question came up. And yes, we are doing the thorough cleanings between passengers, and even going the other step beyond that, not just the cleaning, making sure that the drivers are wearing masks, asking that the passengers are wearing masks, and, you know, trying to limit the amount of people that we're transporting per trip.
Okay, and are the masks being distributed through the paratransit providers also, or is that up to the provider to provide the mask if a passenger gets on the vehicle without one?
Both. So DDOT did give TransDev some masks. I don't believe they're out yet. And they are still asking and communicating with the passengers before they pick them up that they please wear face cover.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. Thank you.
And then I have a question about the LAC and whether or not you've had a chance to look at the bylaws and just try to make sure that those bylaws are being implemented correctly.
This is very good. This is Michael Oglesby. No, I have not, but I've only been here about 2 weeks. So I'm really trying to get up to speed on a lot of things. I will tell you that you're not the only one requesting to bring some things back. I don't know what's been happening, but it'll be reversed, and I will be taking a look at it. If the bylaws say to do it, we're going to do it. It's that simple. So with that being said, let me take a look at it, and we'll get back to you.
Thank you. That's great to hear. Okay, I'm done. Thank you so much for accepting the call.
Thank you. Thank you for calling.
Have a good evening. Sure.
You too. I see Miss Marguerite being raised, so I'm going to go ahead and allow her to speak. Okay. We need to see her video. All right, I guess we will come back to it. Let's go with Megan. One moment.
Hi there, Megan Owens here. Are you ready for me?
We are ready for you.
Okay, sorry, I got it. dropped
That's
off.
okay, it's a little bit of a delay.
Okay. Megan Owens, I'm the Executive Director of Transportation Riders United. And I'm thrilled to see the new leadership and the enthusiasm that Mr. Oglesby has for making DDOT provide the excellent service that we all know the city needs and deserves. I was hoping you could say a little more about about the decision-making for restoring the service. I understand that fares can't really be charged safely until you have the dividers up, but right now, having such low frequencies of service, we're hearing a lot of concerns, a lot of problems of overcrowded buses or people getting passed up and then having to wait 45 minutes or more. Clearly, the best thing to do to increase the safety is to increase the amount of service being provided so that spacing is more feasible on all the buses. So I know it's been referenced, but can you clarify sort of what time frame you're looking at, what decision factors you're looking at for getting that service back on?
Well, first of all, let me just tell you that I agree with you. With that being said, you want a job? No, I'm kidding. I do agree with you 100%. We do need to get the service up and running. You haven't seen things behind the scenes, but when I came on board, that's the first thing I talked about. And that's what I'm pushing staff to move forward with. I don't want to move forward without having all the pieces in place. Quite frankly, there's another side of this coin is when COVID hit, a lot of people were put on furlough and a lot of support staff were put on furlough. And a lot of people look at support staff and they say, oh, that's just support staff, get rid of them. But without that support staff, you can't have what you need. I have to get that support staff back. The second I get the support staff back, I'm going to provide full service. Now, I will also tell you that I will be putting in a list of that support staff tomorrow, and I have been sort of pushing the envelope as a new guy a little bit to try to say, hey, listen, I understand there's a process and we have to go through whatever, but for the safety of the rider, we need our road supervisors back out there because those road supervisors are the ones that see where the crowded buses are. Working with Ricky and the statistics, I mean, we can do a bang up job here and know where to deploy additional buses. That's one, so I need them back. I have the dispatchers that actually were somewhat furloughed. I have to bring them back. I mean, I'm talking about some essential things that I'm looking at. And again, I adopted this, but I'm going to take responsibility and pretend like it's me. And that's why I'm going to change it. So once I get those pieces in order, I can move forward. So I will tell you what I'd like to do it tomorrow. So if I can push this the right way and get the approval to get these people back, coupled with a new plan on how we're going to do business, because it's more than just bringing back service. It's bringing back how we do business. Those road supervisors are no longer going to be driving around and just checking to see if they're on time. They're going to be driving around to make sure that you're safe and getting on the bus and that social distancing is there. If there's a problem and there's a pull-off because there's only 10 people and there are people waiting there, I cannot accept that. And yes, it's nice out now, but I'm going to pretend like it's freezing outside. Okay, so I need a bus ready, I need communication, and those people in that support staff, right down to ambassadors, everything, they're all sort of furloughed. I don't think it's right. There's one thing to save money, then there's one thing to like reduce something to a point that it's not helpful. I know Saturday service is unacceptable. If I was here, I probably wouldn't have done it. Okay, I probably would have had some fights, but then we would be fighting because I fight for the rider. Again, I tell you, my father drove a bus, so I'm a unique CEO. I'm a different kind of person, so I look at things differently. So I will say that we're really trying to shoot. It's the 21st now. Some other places are trying to shoot for the 28th. I don't have a temporary shield up, not even waiting for the ones I'm talking about. I don't have a temporary shield up like Smart's going to do, which is some fabricated dock thing to make it happen. So we're going to have to get creative. It may look like a shower curtain. Don't be mad at me. But if it works, right? So we're going to move forward and we're going to do it. Smart's opening up on the 8th. I'm going to see if I can do the same thing. That's all I can commit to right now. As a matter of fact, I've already talked to the union, and I originally wanted to open up 7 days from now, but it's not realistic. I tried, sorry. But as soon as we get this together, we'll have a staff meeting on Monday. This is going to be the hot topic. And I'm expecting great reports from my staff, and I'm expecting to give you some great news. So hold on, give me a chance, and we'll get there. Fair enough?
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Someone yelled something.
This is Lisa Franklin again. I've already asked my question.
We couldn't hear you.
You can't hear me now?
We can hear you now. We didn't hear
Okay.
anything up to this point, though.
Oh, okay. That's weird. Okay. Let's check in to see, was I missing anyone else? Okay, Mr. Larry, let me unmute him. One moment, please. So give us a moment.
Okay, it should be unmuted.
Okay, we hear you.
Okay, well, you should have my email. So you should know that primarily two things.
Okay, while we wait for him, I know he was concerned about the boarding, that some people were being told to board from the rear, even though they should be able to board from the front. And so this is more regarding the ADA and disabilities, so we can see if we can get him back. But I think we kind of addressed it, but I don't know if that's something we can elaborate on.
I am back.
Okay, did you hear me? Was that correct in reading your, kind of summing up your email?
Probably. I wasn't here. I have a bad connection and I got bumped off
Okay.
for a moment. But I heard what Ricky said earlier, and I'd like to know, I believe it was Ricky, it may have been someone else, about the tracking beacons on the bus. I still don't understand, quite simply, how it is that they're off on all the buses. I mean, I believe, yes, it would take some personnel probably to see that they're maintained on each bus and that they're operational. Unless, of course, you're telling me that drivers have the ability to turn them off and all of the drivers will turn them off, which I do not believe.
No, I mean,
I
primarily,
definitely would like an answer to that. When will they be back on? Because it's clear there's going to be a while before regular service is reestablished. And like I said in my email, I live less than half a football field from a bus stop, 2 bus stops as a matter of fact. One runs good, but it only runs once an hour. There's only 2 buses on the Wyoming. Cool, that's perfect. But the Grand River is an entirely different thing. When I go out there and it says the bus is gonna be there at 10 minutes to 2, and one doesn't show up until 4:35, I mean, that's a problem.
So what I can address your first concern was, I believe, against the ADA. I believe you mentioned that, Ayubami, in regards to the boarding at the rear of the bus. Mr. Verse, if you do remember, we were on the LAC call earlier this week, and there was a concern brought to our attention in regards to drivers not allowing ADA passengers to board at the front of the bus, whether they were in a wheelchair or not. And just so that you are aware, even though we made our drivers aware that their ADA responsibilities did not change, following our meeting, I personally released another memo to all of our drivers, which was printed and passed out to every single driver as of yesterday morning. And we made sure that every driver received that memo that furthermore reminded them of their responsibilities to allow all ADA passengers to board at the front of the bus. So I just wanted to follow up with you because I believe that was a complaint that you brought up during that LAC meeting, just so that you are aware that something did take place and that your concern was heard regarding that issue, okay?
Yes, I understand that. But who's checking to see that it's actually carried out? Because yesterday afternoon, I was on a bus on Wyoming, and there was a gentleman who had the board from the back, who I actually had to get up and take his walker and hold his hand and give him a pull up into the bus because he couldn't get.
So my first question would be, in regards to that, we have had the issue that they are worried that they cannot make it to the front of the bus in time. Now, what I will say is that Mr. Oglesby has made us aware and made you all aware that the first step is for us to get our road supervisors back, because of course they cannot be everywhere at once. And once we are able to ramp up and get that support staff back, then the monitoring of all lines will be able to be much more effective and much more responsive. At this time, of course, as you can imagine, as we stated earlier, utilizing 3 or 4 bodies trying to cover the entire city at this time is just not feasible, and we cannot be as responsible as we would like. So at this time, once we are able to get that support staff back, that gives you everything that we need to make sure that they are being responsive, and not just responsive, but are able to be proactive in those areas that we know we have a heavily populated ADA community.
All right, let me jump in for it. Let me jump in for a second. Larry did a great job, but let me just jump right to it. I understand what Larry's saying when I say Larry Verse, right? Is that your name? Larry Verse?
That's
yes,
right.
sir. Yes, sir. Okay, so look, here's the deal. I empathize with you 100%. I don't like it, and I'm going to do something to change it. Okay, so that's my promise to you from that standpoint, and we're going to talk about how we can fix things. As far as the tracking and the data, I know that Ricky's going to give you that information, but I will tell you that that's the first thing that I noticed that I had a problem with from day one. I've been here 2 weeks. First thing I noticed. And I will also say that the mayor was upset because he went to track the bus and he couldn't see it. And when the mayor can't track it after he's told that it works, you already know what time it is. So Larry, I know you got a little juice, but I don't know if you called him and told him or what, but I'll tell you something.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so he lit a fire and I had just walked in the door on that. So that is number one. The first thing I talked about, Ricky can talk to you, is, okay, who's doing it? Is it Clever Devices? Why isn't this working? And there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff, but let me just say to you that you have an advocate in me behind the scenes to push this. So though they're not going to say certain things that they can't say, that I'm saying, I'm pushing it not only for the rest of the riding public, but for you. That fair enough?
Fair enough, especially for the rest of the riding public.
Absolutely. That's what I'm talking about. Ricky, I don't know if you want to add as far as where we are, but I mean, the end result is, you know, when I find out the day, we're going to let everybody know the day. So Ricky, go ahead.
Yeah, and absolutely. You know, and we are working diligently on it. I mean, the basics of it is the infrastructure that the API is being fed from. Transit App is a third-party organization that works along with us as a partner. But the Clever Devices connection to that in real time is where we're finding the biggest challenges. So that's what we're working through, you know, and, you know, there's also, just to kind of give a preview, we are working on our own solution that's native to our system. And we've hopscotched the development of that app ahead of the release date, so that, because we know that the urgency is there in order to make sure, and that's actually been fast tracked. So those are 2 converging solutions that are going to occur to make sure this happens. And I know that the gap between us having what Transit App had before and what we have now, you know, that, you know, I don't want to make excuses, but part of the development process, when everything got pushed forward, timelines get dragged along with that, timelines getting delayed. So we've pushed, you know, developers in the right direction and get that done for you.
So the short version of it, and Ricky did a great technical job. Larry don't want to hear that. He wants to know what's going to happen. So that's the technical side of it. Okay, but the straightforward side of it is we're going to be working with the people to get it fixed behind the scenes, and it's all of the companies that he's talking about, Clever Devices. It's a communication thing. It's not your problem, it's our problem, and I'm going to take responsibility, and we're going to move forward with it.
I'd like to interject, please.
Ricky.
Yes, Mr. Versace, how you doing, sir? Good to see you. To piggyback with our new leadership has said, Mr. Oglesby has really made it a point to get things done. And as you know, for several meetings, we brought up the point, especially when you had problems on coaches, to remind the passengers, and this goes out to everyone listening, if you have a direct problem on a coach, please, if at all possible, date, time, coach number, let us know, because we can't be everywhere at every time. But if you call and give us a date, time, and a coach number, we can pull video, we can do everything, and then I can go to battle with the unions, and the operation will go to battle with the union, because we're about ready to fire a driver that does not take care of our passengers. So let us know with as much information as possible so that we can handle things appropriately and immediately and directly. And I'm not going to tell you said so, okay?
Okay.
I
have one last question. And this is directed to you, Mr. Oglesby.
Yes, sir.
How much problem am I going to have getting actual statistical and especially financial data from you? I had a problem in the past, and I had only asked for one thing, and it got garbled going up, and it took me 5 months to get a simple answer to one question.
Well, it depends on the question, I guess. I'm not familiar with what you're talking about. Again, I just got here, but you know, if I could answer it now, I will. If not, I'll get it and get it back to you. What's the question?
No question at this time.
All right, now I'm right here. What you got?
Go ahead,
All right. Now listen.
If I have a question, I'm prepared to get the answer and probably know where it should come from and what the answer probably should be, and need verification more than anything else. And
right.
I haven't did that on time. And I can't say.
Okay.
Well, you seem to have known something about me, so you know that I've obviously checked out your background too.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. I've been Googled more than it don't matter to me. But I'm here now.
Yeah,
so
well, you've probably been Googled more in the last 2 or 3 weeks than you have over the past couple of years.
Oh my goodness, you don't even know. I'm getting phone calls. But listen, here's I'm very straightforward. You come up with whatever question. We're wide open. We're an open book. If we weren't before, we are now, because we're a public agency serving you. Okay. And when we get money from revenues, we don't make money off it. We put it back. That's why we're not charging revenues now. We're not going to charge revenues until it's safe. And I'm not looking at that as the motive for full service. Somebody had mentioned that earlier. That's not the motive for full service. Okay. So it's not, well, I want to get full service so I can get paid. That's not what it's about. I want safe transportation, and I want it done right. There was another question that was asked earlier, 2 questions, and I just got the answers because while y'all are talking, my fingers are getting numb over here typing. Somebody asked if the cleaning was FDA certified, and it is FDA certified. And then another question was about allergic to solutions. We haven't had any complaints to date, and Josh Reed has customer service, so he could probably talk to us more. But to date, we haven't had any complaints about being allergic to the solutions that we use. But I mean, you know, we have to weigh things too, because if you're allergic and you sneeze, but you don't catch coronavirus, then we have to weigh which one's more important. And I think not catching coronavirus is the most important thing. So we haven't had complaints yet, but I wanted to put those 2 things out there to answer the questions now instead of waiting, what did you say, 5 weeks or so? How's that? That fair? Okay, next.
All right, I see Miss Marguerite.
Okay, Marguerite.
She may be signing her.
I can't hear her.
She's gonna sign, so we have our.
Okay.
Okay, I can't see your hands.
Okay, let me.
Okay.
Can we?
I'm gonna text her and let her know that you can't see her hands.
She needs to just go back just a little.
One disconnect.
If we pin her, does that help, or is that take away from?
Okay.
There you go.
To have interpreters. Yeah, I can't see her hands, and
okay.
she's mouthing, and I can't understand what she's saying.
Can you sign to her that you can't hear her or understand it?
Yes, I told
Okay.
her.
Okay, let me unpin her video.
He's saying yes.
No.
We'll put him big so
Can we-
you can sign to her, so he can tell her that he can't hear.
Okay.
We'll put him big so she can see him. Because he's too small. I can't even see him. So.
Let me bring him back. I had pinned her so that he could see her. If anyone of my codes can get him faster. Okay, there we go.
No, I can see the picture, but her hands are below the edge of the screen. I can't see what she's saying. She's saying, hold on a minute.
Okay.
She needs a wider shot.
If maybe I have her, well, say push her back. Step back.
When you did it earlier, you did something and it was perfect there. Just a little further back.
Okay.
There you go.
I have stayed for now. Sorry, she's difficult to understand. She's saying, no, that's not what I meant. Not staying home for now. I can't understand you if you're not using your
Can we have her email? I know she's emailed or text before. Maybe email that and then and we can relay it that way.
when she looks, then I'll let her know that.
Let her DDOT comments. DetroitMI.gov. We'll be able to do it that way.
Or maybe you can send her an email.
Does anyone, does any, I don't have it.
We should have her email and
Okay.
customer service. We should have that.
Okay.
And let's
I'm sure
be,
if we could look, I think, because before, I think she had someone email for her. So I don't
yeah,
know if
let's
I have it
be
direct, but we'll make sure we relay back and find out her question and we'll get the answer as well.
please do. And also let's make sure we're prepared for something like that if that happens. And if we know that she's going to be here, we have the folks that are regular, let's just kind of make sure that they can, I want to hear what everybody has to say.
For sure.
Okay. I see Pamela.
Hello.
Okay, was there anyone else? I see, I think it was a hand raised that someone.
Ayobami, if I may for a moment.
Go ahead.
If I may. I am Ms. King. I work in the compliance division. And what we do is we work to ensure non-discrimination at DDOT as far as Title VI and ADA. So I have heard that the ADA emails are down. You can always communicate with us online at the City of Detroit's website under transportation. You can go to the feedback and we will still get that ADA complaint, concern, or commendation. So there's more than one way to contact us. So please feel free to go through the feedback to give us the ADA, and then Mr. Smith can know exactly what's going on as far as loading in the back of the bus and not letting ADA, not paratransit, ADA passengers on, so he can know right away. So there is a way to contact us as opposed to just an email. Just wanted to let everybody know.
Thank you for that additional update. Do we have anyone else who has not spoken or had a question or concern that we were not able to address at this time? Or have not addressed, excuse me. I don't see any additional hand raised. If anyone else can.
Hello?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I just wanted to just basically add, I appreciate the young lady reaching out and giving us the information for anyone that can connect if they have a cell phone. But I would really stress the effort of mailers, again, as far as the communication process, considering the fact that our senator has sent information out of resources. So maybe a different type of piece to send via mail. That would help me step by step, because again, not everyone has internet. Not everyone has good connections with some of these minute phones that are not able to pay for the phones by monthly, but they have the 500-minute, 1,000-minute phones. So again, if a mailer is sent out mass throughout the city, and it's also posted up via signs on your buses, I believe us being the community, that is basically helping the Department of Transportation, because now we're at the point where this is what we need, and we're asking, and it's somewhat to a point of pleading, but I say not. I say, you know, you get what you pay for. And with that being said, Ms. Oglesby, I would just only ask, and would like to work with you on getting that ask disseminated in a very unique way, if it hasn't already been duplicated. But I believe the candle does burn at both ends, so that all the communities in all parts of Detroit, because when it's time to raise an effort or awareness or an ask, that we use all information possible. So I would just, again, just reiterate that, and I would like for, you know, to work with you on getting that part of it, you know, taken care of. And I
Okay.
understand it's only been 2 weeks, but hey,
All right.
Superman changed in a phone booth, so I believe in you, and we're gonna get it done.
All right. All right. Well, you know what? I do have a cape up under. Don't let this shirt fool you. I got a cape under here. I hear you. I understand exactly what you're saying. I think my staff understands. They're nodding as you're speaking. You know, one of the things that happens in marketing is as we get into the new age, everything starts getting electronic. But you start forgetting that some people just can't afford some of the electronic portions of things. It's just like fairs. People are trying to get away from money, and then you expect everyone to have mobile ticket, and not everybody can do mobile ticket. It's the exact same thing. So we have to open our eyes up a little bit. I will tell you, I like the idea of the mailer. One of the concerns I have is the mail right now during COVID. I'll mail it to you, but you may not get it for a week. So I don't want, we're gonna put our head together. I'm gonna challenge the marketing staff to come up with something unique. I can tell you that it's not a matter of a problem with spending. We have some, the CARES Act funding can go towards marketing activities and the such. I'm gonna take a look at it. And if that's the case, we'll give it a shot. We'll try it out. We'll sample it, see how quickly people get things. But again, we'll try all avenues, and we'll tell everybody to try all of our avenues to get the information. If you depend on that mailer and it comes late, I'll feel terrible. And I know I can't control it because it's the UPS or whatever, not UPS, USPS. But yeah, we'll take a look at it, and if we can do it, we'll send it out and try it. Why not? It won't hurt. Okay?
No problem. It's a proven method. If you look at the elections, and when that time comes around, there's no effort. All bets are off. Everything is used. So I refer to that as a backup. And again, Superman changing in a phone booth. It's immediate action. It's not hard to do. I'm in the IT background myself, so I understand the need. So I understand in 2 weeks you can't do a lot. I understand.
No, I'm not using that as an excuse. I'm here now. We're moving forward. So I just want to let you know I'm here. When I say 2 weeks, that means I'm just finding out about things. So if it hasn't changed yet, now if I'm here another 2 weeks and nothing's changed, then I can't say anything, right? So let me. I got you. We're gonna have a capable staff. We're going to challenge it. I know I can't do it like the elections. You know, I don't have any connections with Russia or anything, but I'm going to give it a shot that I'll do what I can to get it out to you.
Okay, well, we'll assist you with that in the community realm of that, and there's other interested community, but the time, I say the time is now to utilize it, or as they say, win or go home.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm all in. We hear you. We've written it down. Let's give it a shot. If we have any challenges, I'm sure staff knows how to reach out to you, but more importantly, the next time we come around, I'm sure if you bring it up, we'll have something to tell you where we're at it either way.
I appreciate it. Thanks so much.
No problem.
All right, we are a little bit before, we're approaching 6:15. Again, I don't want to leave out anyone who wanted a chance to speak. So that if you're able to raise your hand and let us know, we can unmute you. You can go ahead and ask your question.
And in the meantime, while you're waiting for them, I know there were a few questions that were emailed over. I don't know if as a filler, you want me to kind of address some of those, just let me know.
We can, I think are we gonna try Miss Marguerite again? Her hand is raised. Let's see if we can try one more time. And then if not, we can move on to, unless someone else can, there we go. I saw her hand was raised again.
If not, let her know that she can email it in and we're going to respond to her. I want her to know that we're going to address anything she has to say. Technical difficulties.
Yes, and we appreciate everyone's patience. As you know, this is our first virtual meeting and we are working on getting everything together. I do see a hand raised by Megan Owens again, so we'll go ahead and let her speak.
Hi, yeah, if we have the time, another question. Mr. Osby, you mentioned the CARES Act funding. I was wondering if you could say a little more about how those dollars are being prioritized. Obviously, there's an urgent, that they very much need to cover some of these expenses, like putting in barriers, like the PPE, but it's actually a pretty decent chunk of change for this region, for this city. Yeah, any thoughts as to how those are going to be best utilized to improve service during this time?
Well, I'm going to utilize it in all the categories that they allow us to use it in. Like you said, it's a big chunk of change, but then again, just to offset revenue, 20 million of it just got lopped right off the top. So now it's 40 offset. So we have to cover our expenses to date. And then, you know, you never know. If we continue to move forward, and we're not sure which way we'll go from a fare structure standpoint, if things lighten up, I really can't tell you the future. Then we may have to, we'll just have to keep covering expenses. So we can't get careless with the money. We have to kind of hold it in our back pocket, one. And then two, remember, we're hearing about a second wave of coronavirus. So there's no guarantee of another set of money. So some people are looking at that money and saying, oh, you have money. What are you going to do with it? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to spend it on anything coronavirus related, and I'm going to hold it. And if there's another wave for the safety of the people and something new comes out, I'm going to spend it on that. So the things that it can be used for, I can tell you, well, first of all, I can tell you that we're using it for just about everything that you see that's coronavirus related. So you got the masks, you got the PPEs, the cleaning I already talked to you about. I mean, I'm telling you already, we spent, within a 3-month period, we could spend $1 million in cleaning, right? So that we're talking millions lopping off. So, you know, it sounds like a lot of money, but it's a lot of money to run some of this stuff, whether I agree with it or not. You know, these are the contracts and these are the prices to keep folks safe. We're going to keep going with it. So administrative leave for the drivers, you know, we have to make sure they're safe. If they have any type of issue or complaints about possibly being positive with COVID, they can be out for a certain period of time. That time has to be covered if you want service provided. I will tell you that we've had 24 to date, 24 employees pop positive with COVID. And we have, of course, you know, unfortunately, we had one that passed away. So we take that very seriously. Money's going to be going towards that, and it has been going towards that. In addition, we're trying to get drivers on board during this time while all of this is happening. Preventive maintenance costs and additional cleaning costs I told you about. COVID-19 response supplies, that's everything related to it, right down to checking temperatures. Driver protection retrofits, I told you about that. We're talking about millions of dollars just for that. Compliance activities with startup and marketing, which goes to the last person's point of, you know, what about mailers? I'm saying, what about mailers? Well, I want to give it a shot. Cashless ticketing, fare box. A lot of people are concerned about the fare box and touching it. And once you start charging on the fare box, all of a sudden, no one wants to touch the fare box. Are you going to clean the fare box between each person? So that's another thing that's come up. Other expenditures needed for loss of revenue. There are things that we're not thinking about right now that pop up on a daily basis that causes a loss of revenue, and it's chipping away at it. Automated wheelchair securement. It is quite possible that if there's an opportunity to amp up things there, I will do it, because it's on the list. And then onboard information monitors as well, which we have some on the new buses, but we don't have them on the older buses. That's not as critical right now to me because it's not as safety related, but it is informational related. So those are some of the things that can be spent on. And unfortunately, it's a small box. I would like for it to be, the box to be a lot bigger, but hopefully we can get creative. So we've been spending a lot of the money to date, and we just, I really dread seeing that money go down very quickly because we may need it for the future. So as far as the spending, that's all I can say about it. But as we move forward, I have no problem giving a rolling tally and a list of what we've been spending it on. Right now, it's kind of haphazard because we're running around just trying to make sure we can get service, as much service out there as possible. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Thank
I
you.
think that those sort of updates as things go forward, whatever, quarterly or something would be really nice to see.
I'll do it.
Okay, it looks like Mr. Larry had one more question. We've got about 10 minutes left. And I will say, in regards to email, I believe that we've covered most of them. As far as what was brought up today, there was questions regarding when will service resume again, and then the overcrowding, and then the buses, as far as not being on time or being able to accurately track them. So we have addressed those, but more to come.
And there was other CARES Act money, so it worked out.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I saw, did someone already pull him up? I saw Mr. Larry. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay. We got 2
Okay,
minutes.
my question. Well, I don't think I'll need that this time, believe it or not. I love you too. Anyway, this question is kind of for Mr. Oglesby and anybody else who might have some input. And I could be wrong, but my understanding is that not only was there going to be like a second wave of coronavirus, it's going to probably be more touch than breathing, but that's besides the point that I want to make. My question really is, even after that, there's every indication, economic indication, that there's going to be a significant downturn, which will undoubtedly affect, significantly negatively impact Detroit bus riders. Is someone making a plan or alternative plans to deal with possible outcomes for the economic consequences of the shutdown?
From a transit standpoint, I don't understand. How are you asking that? Do you want to know if there's a downturn again, do we have a plan as to what's going to happen? Is that what you mean?
Well, I don't think you have one yet. I'm asking, are you making
I
one?
know that. So, but I'm trying to get to the question. I know. Well, first of all, let's just talk. Okay. So, yeah, touch, breathing. Right now, to tell you the truth, from what I understand, folks don't know whether we're catching it from touching or breathing. I don't care what anybody says, right? Don't touch your eyes, don't breathe, don't. Someone claimed that they wrapped themselves all up and then they got it through the eyeball. So I don't know what's going on, and I don't think anybody else does. You know, as far as the future goes, the way that I understand it is that there's supposed to be a downturn, and then towards winter time, it may go back up again. It may go back up. There's various reasons for that. I personally think we're going to leave that alone. I think maybe if we're opening up a little too early, sure, there's a downturn. Then it's going to come back because everybody gives back the same thing that they got. So it's not necessarily a wave of something new. But I'm told it's going to be a wave of something new. I will tell you that the American Public Transportation Association is having meetings right now, and I'm involved with them, to try to get another set of money for the second wave, right? So I'm hoping that happens, because if it doesn't, then we're going to have to start looking at cutting service, and we don't want to do that, or trying to find some way to supplement service. I will tell you that on the second, once we get service up and running, the second go round, we're not going to just go to Saturday service. It'll be more thought out. It'll be a reduced schedule, but more service where people ride. Do you know what I mean? So a little more concentration to it. So hopefully that answers your question. I'm not sure from the next wave. I can't really tell you what's going to happen. As much as I'd like to be Nostradamus, I'm not. So we'll just have to see. But I'll tell you, we're going to be keeping an eye on it from a staff standpoint. All set?
You're still muted, Mr. Larry.
Oh, he's speaking?
It looks like he was speaking. Go ahead.
I didn't hear him. You're muted, Larry. I can't hear you.
He should be able to unmute himself.
Yeah, he hit the button.
Yeah. I just want to add one thing. We're aware of what you're talking about with the, what is it, APTA?
Okay.
We lost him.
Yeah.
If you can hear me, American Public Transportation Association. I know you like to Google, so you can go ahead and Google it. It has all the information on there about the different funding sources. So.
All right, we have about 5 minutes. Anyone else? If I'm missing anybody, please let me know.
I tell you what we should do. Anybody who is trying to get a question in today and couldn't get that question in, and if they get it to us within the next few days, we won't wait for the next meeting. We'll just send them an email and answer it. How's that? Okay.
That sounds like a plan. And as always, we do urge everyone who is on the line as well to please don't wait to our meetings. We always ask that, if something is a situation, please call customer service right away. Provide as much details as possible, as mentioned earlier, and as well as you can email d.comments@detroitmi.gov. Again, as much details as possible, but if you could provide that information as it happens, as soon as it happens, we can get on it and investigate and get some responses for you.
And also the city's website under Detroit Department of Transportation feedback line.
Anyone else from DDOT that would like to say anything before we close out today's meeting?
I want to say, everyone, please stay safe, enjoy your weekend and holiday, and take it slow and easy. Keep prayed up.
Yes, everyone, please stay safe. Have a safe and happy Memorial Day weekend, Memorial Day, and we hope to see you on the next one. Again, thank you for joining us, and you have a great night.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, goodbye, everybody.
Take care.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you. Thank you. Good night.
Holla.